but there are certain the three, no matter what you think of them, because of various things. There are three that I can think of off the top of my head. That's like I'm sure they'll pass, within 20, 30 years, somewhere in that time range. It's going to be bad. One is Ric Flair.
Yeah, that's going to be really bad.
The other one is Hulk Hogan.
That one's going to break my heart. Believe it or not, that one's going to break my heart.
And, it's funny you say it. For those of you, because it's a podcast, you can't see, Delvin is not a white man.
No, I'm
pointing
not.
There. Yes. Okay. And he just said when Hulk Hogan passes away, it's going to break his heart.
Yeah, because, no matter what he did in the past or whatnot, he still was a part of my childhood. Right. WrestleMania was a thing, Hulkamaniacs and eating your vitamins and Thunder Lips from Rocky. That was like history for me. That was Hulk Hogan, the reason why I started watching wrestling.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people say. Yeah, he's a legend, man. He is the legend. But what was funny? Greg always laughs about this. So I wore right after all that secretly recorded racist stuff came out about him. It was only a couple, I think maybe a month or two after all that came to light. I wore my Hulkamania t-shirt in New York when we went in 2015.
That wasn't a good move.
well, no, the thing was, I had at least 2 or 3 guys stop me. They were like, dude, I love that shirt. And they were nerding out about my Hulkamania shirt. They were all black.
Yeah, they probably didn't know about it because it's funny to bring this up how certain wrestling fans hear stories and things and they think everybody knows about it. Like, for example, when that Hulk Hogan story came out and all the tapes and stuff was leaked and things like that, several things came to mind. I'm like, damn, Hulk, that's crazy.
Then, that's cold.
And then I started thinking about it. I started in my mind going back to all the other stories about other wrestlers saying stuff just as bad. I'm like, have you? It's almost par for the course for wrestling.
Yeah.
Because wrestling has a really bad history of overt, blatant racism.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there have been words, and not excuse. Like I said, me and Greg always preface and it's kind of obvious, but it's not excusing what he said, but it's there have been worse.
Yes.
I don't think. I mean, yeah, Hulk said some pretty nasty stuff, but I don't think anybody can point to it. It's you remember when he did such and such that. He's a racist.
Yeah.
It's he said some disgusting things. I get it, but it's come on.
Yeah. If you go back to some African Americans wrestlers shoot interviews, you will hear some crazy stories. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to call people out because that's not my thing. But you go back to some of those wrestlers shoot interviews, your eyes open wide.
Oh yeah, well yeah, definitely. Or like Ron Simmons saying that when they asked him, they said, "Well, was Bill Watts a racist?" And he said, "Well, at least he didn't wear his white hood in the locker room." And I went, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, I've heard that one.
That one I can believe because he said some pretty messed up stuff in a shoot interview. Bill Watts, I mean, but I mean, do you think that Hulk maybe thought I can get away with it because he thought he was brought into the club because of what Booker T called him?
No, I don't even think that. I think it was. That is my favorite Booker T promo, by the way. That's one of my favorite wrestling promos ever.
Dropping the N-word on live pay-per-view. That was brilliant.
Because it reminds me of growing up in the hood. That's how guys talked. And it's for that one quick second, the real Booker T came out.
Oh yeah. Well, he even said that. He was like, "Man, I'm from the hood," and he was like, "That's just what we said, and that's what we called each other." And it's I get it. I mean, words slip out that I say all the time too when I don't mean to.
Yeah, but I think it was just one, he didn't know it was being recorded, obviously. So, and he got comfortable, and people get angry, so they say wild stuff when they're angry, especially when they have hatred towards a and especially when they have hatred towards a certain race, like if they feel like I'm gonna call a spade. When some people feel like a black person has done them wrong, sometimes they want to pull that word out.
Right.
I don't know why, but that's the word they pull out, and it's messed up. But in privacy, I can't fault you for doing something in private because you were doing it in private. Now, if you call me that to my face, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. And that was my thing. I was like, is he saying this stuff in public? I mean, like, a lot of people say some messed up stuff, me included, behind closed doors.
Yes.
I'm not an angel. And I'm not talking racist things in particular. I'm just saying it's like everybody says stuff in private you would never say publicly. Yeah.
And it doesn't excuse it.
No.
But at the same time, you kind of got to be like, come on, man, like it.
Right.
He shouldn't have had his conversation shouldn't be recorded. That's messed up on all sorts of levels. I don't care who it is. Recording people's phone calls when they're not knowing about it or conversations is not a good thing. Unless, and like I said, there's only very few situations where I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But that's not one of them. They did it specifically to blackmail and or extort him.
Well, at this point, I think Hulk Hogan really needs to like sweep every room he's in for bugs. Like, just every time he's been recorded without his knowledge, supposedly having sex with his friend's wife, saying some racist stuff. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, and that kind of shows how some people just don't know how big their celebrity is. Yeah, like Hulk Hogan should know better in terms of. At one point, he was one of the biggest stars in the world. So he should kind of think that, hey, me saying anything inflammatory, if it ever gets out, I'm going to be screwed.
Definitely. That's why Greg and I always preach against, like these celebrities out there, sending some risque photos and videos and whatever. They always get out every time.
Yeah. That is true.
I don't know if there's ever been a case of them not getting out. So just don't do it. Yeah. But either way, the third one I didn't mention, that when he passes away, no matter what you think of him, it's going to be huge, is Vince McMahon.
That one is going to be really huge because
he took wrestling national.
Yeah. And not only that, he is the face of the bad guy for wrestling in terms of how when you think of 90s wrestling, you think of Stone Cold Steve Austin, you think of Vince McMahon. When you think of 80s wrestling, you think of Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan. Vince McMahon is like, he's a legend. He's the guy who brought wrestling to the forefront. When people talk about wrestling companies topping WWE, they're not talking about wrestling companies topping WWE. They're talking about topping Vince McMahon. People always say, we got to beat Vince. They don't say we got to beat WWE. Because Vince McMahon is the staple. He's the standard of what wrestling's supposed to be. So him passing away is going to be hard.
Definitely. No matter what anybody thinks of him or says about him, like, seriously, it's huge. Thanks for watching this YouTube exclusive video for the podcast Wrestling Society. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're picking up what we're throwing down. And of course, we always welcome feedback in the comments section down below. And if you want to keep up with the weekly podcast that drops every Wednesday, links to the show page are in the description down below, along with our social media handles and our associates pages. Come on and join the society.